Asalam Alaikum waRahamotullah wabaratuhu. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, the King of the Day of Judgment. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon our noble Prophet, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his household, his companions, the past scholars, and all those that follow his path to the day of Qiyamah. My brothers and sisters in Islam, you are welcome to today's episode on my way to Islam. As promised in our last episode, I want to use this opportunity to apologize on the thoughts. We are supposed to be dropping the episode weekly. It's supposed to be a weekly episode, but last week we are unable to do so. We apologize for that. We'll be continuing from where we stopped in our last episode. We promised ourselves, inshallah, that we'll be talking about the short story of Bilal as regards to the fundamentals, or one of the fundamentals of Islam, that is the Tawheed. We are using this opportunity to wish us Ramadan Mubarak. May Allah accept it as an act of ibadah. May He make it easy for us. May He use it as an opportunity to attain His piety and His forgiveness. Now, the story of Bilal, we all know it. When they talk about Bilal ibn Rabah, what always comes to our mind, even when we were kids, we watch the movie, we listen to the stories from our muallim and so on. We know that the common thing we know Bilal as, he was the muazzin of our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Then, was he our Prophet's relative? No. Was he a Muslim? Was he born a Muslim? All this we are going to know, inshallah, in the commencement of the story. Now, the origin of Bilal can be traced back to Abyssinia, that is an African, a black country. He was a black man. Amumu was the former princess of Abyssinia. She was one of those captured during the events that happened in the year of the elephants, when Abba and his soldiers marched down to Kaaba, that they want to go and destroy the Kaaba before they met their end. So she was one of those captivated as a slave in Mecca. And she was later paired with a slave as husband and wife, and they gave birth to Bilal in the year 580 AD. That means that our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was 10 years older than Bilal, because he was born in 570 AD, as we all know. Now, Bilal, according to some narration, Bilal is dark in complexion. He has a black hair. He has a clear voice as one of the major attributes that we know Bilal for. And they say he's one of the slaves that was liked so much by his master. That is Umayyah ibn Khalaf. He's an elite. Yes, he's very intelligent. He's an elite that sometimes the key to their idol houses, they kept it in his custody. Now, we cannot be imagining that a slave that was liked by his master, why was he tortured? Why did they torture him to the extent that he now became his master's enemy? Bilal was tortured because he accepted Islam. His master and some of the top leaders of Mecca, they always sometimes they do come together, have some meeting in their house, and Bilal will be hearing them talking about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And some of them, that is Abu Jali, they're talking about the Prophet. So you do imagine that this particular person they always talk about, he must be somebody that is saying the truth. So they said when he heard the message of our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he did not doubt it at all. He accepted it. He acknowledged it as the oneness of, when our prophets started preaching the oneness of Allah. He accepted it because in those days they have different idol worshiping with idol names like Lat, like Uzza, and the rest of them. So they all have different idols that they worship. But this particular God that this man, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, was telling us about, was spreading his message about, that means that is the supreme being. He's one, he's unique. It's not like all these ones that we see here and there. Ma'am, did Bilal had an encounter with our prophet before he becomes his companion, or before he was tortured by his masters? We have some narrations that stated that when our prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu, when they are at the outskirts of Mecca one day at the cave doing their normal self-reflection, they met a slave with his sheep, that is a shepherd, and they approached him. That was Bilal, and they approached him that, please, can you give us one of your sheep to milk from? We are thirsty. So he told them, Bilal told them that, I'm not the owner of the sheep, but my master. He only gave me permission to milk from one particular sheep, and the sheep is not something that even Bilal, the milk from the sheep cannot be enough for Bilal, not to talk of our prophets and Abu Bakr. So our prophet told him to bring the sheep forward, and with his blessed hand, he milked the sheep by himself. It was narrated that the milk was enough for Bilal. It was enough, the milk another one, it was enough for our noble prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it was also enough for Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu. Now, from then they started having encounters, and some things started happening. Some of the sheep started gaining weight. Most of the sheep started gaining weight. They started doing well. So his master, Umayya ibn Khalaf, he was surprised that, what is happening? So Abu Jahl now told him that, are you sure that this is your slave? You have not been meeting that boy that they were referring to our noble prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have not been meeting that boy, Muhammad, because he's the one that always performed this magic. Just imagine, they say that our prophet was performing magic without knowing that it is one of the blessings that Allah bestowed on him. So they did their secret investigation. They finally found out that truly Bilal sometimes have an encounter with our prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From that day, that was when the torture started. They said Umayya ibn Khalaf tortured Bilal for several months at the instigation of Abu Jahl. Do this to him, do this to him, do this to increase his punishment, do this, do that. Umayya ibn Khalaf sometimes we tell them to drag Bilal out. He will spread him like an eagle spread under a hot sun from morning till evening, that Bilal will be so thirsty. Instead of giving him water, they will have a drop of water on his chest, and this is to amplify his punishment, to increase his thirst for water. With all this, they will tell him, oh yeah, say this, mention this, this our idol, mention this, mention that, mention Uzza. But all that Bilal kept saying, even under that situation, was Ahad, Ahad, one. So when Umayya ibn Khalaf, the punishment that he gave him today, that is not the one he will increase it, he will give to him tomorrow. He increased his punishment to the extent that there was a narration that said that sometimes he will tell them to drag him. Children will start spitting on him, they will start dragging him at the outskirts of Mecca. Sometimes we hand him over to the Sufaha, that is the talks, we can call them the talks, the touts, Mokon. We hand Bilal over to them. Do whatever you like with him. With all this, Bilal still stood his ground. He did not renounce his faith because of his master's punishment. He already made up his mind that even if I'm going to end my life in this situation, I know that I'm believing in that supreme being that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was preaching about. His master, Umayya ibn Khalaf, wanted to end it all. He have thought that I've given this boy several punishments and he does not want to renounce the faith. Let me end this all with him. He now drag him out under the sun. He said he instructed people to carry hot stone on his chest while lying down wide open, to lay hot stone on his chest. Even with that, Bilal did not renounce his faith. He was just saying Ahad, Ahad, Ahad. Before the emancipation of Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr now went to his master, that is Umayyah ibn Khalaf. Why don't you sell this slave to me? After all, you don't have anything you want to do with him again. So just sell him to me. Just sell him to me at mention your price, at any price you mention. They said the Umayyah ibn Khalaf, now you want to buy this useless somebody, you want to do this one. He devalued Bilal. So they came to an agreement, and they said they bought Bilal then at 7 to 10 dinar. That is their currency then. So Umayyah ibn Khalaf now told them to drag Bilal to him. He just dragged Bilal as a nobody to Abu Bakr. So what was Umayyah's last speech to Bilal before Abu Bakr took him away? Umayyah was referring to Abu Bakr that, what do you want to do with this one? This one that is useless. This one, even if you give me 1 dinar, I will have sold him to you. You wasted your money. You do this, you do that. Abu Bakr was like, by Allah, even if you want to collect 1,000 dinar, 100 dinar, I'm ready to give you. Because Abu Bakr knows the value of this man that they want to end his life. He knows the value of this man. He knows the importance of what the man was saying. So that was how Bilal left his master, Umayyah ibn Khalaf. I would have loved us to continue with this story, but due to time, we need to end it here. Now, the story was gotten from different sources, but majorly from Sheikh Umar Sulaiman. May Allah bless him. That is the founding president of Yekin Institute of Islamic Research and also a professor of Islamic Studies. We can visit the site, inshallah. Maybe in one of our episodes, we can talk about his life when he started living with our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he became the companion of our Prophet, then how our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam appoint him as his muazzin, then his life with our Prophet, and the significant things that happened in the life of our Prophet with Bilal. Let's reflect on the story of Bilal, this short story of Bilal. And want to see the full story as stated before, you can visit his site, you can research on it. We have different Islamic scholars that narrated the story of Bilal so well. So in this short story, let's reflect on the story of Bilal in regards to Tawheed, in regards to the oneness of Allah. With all the torture, with all the punishments, with all the negative things that Bilal saw when he was living with his master, that does not make him renounce his faith. Even when they were at the point of death, at the point of torture, when they were telling him, renounce it, say Lat, say Uzza, say this, he was firm in what he was saying, Ahad, because he have identified that thing he was saying. He have identified that Allah is one. This Allah is the true God. No matter what happened to me, I will not denounce him. Now, let's take this story back into our own life. What are the challenges that we are facing? What are the things we are undergoing because we are Muslims? Because we want to practice Islam as it is. Because we don't want to associate partners with Allah. What are those challenges that we are facing? It may not be like a Bilal challenge. It may not be like punishments in regards to what Bilal faced. It may be life issues. It may be from your children. It may be from the society where you live. We have some people that live in non-Islamic society that one of their own challenges is carrying out that Islamic activity, carrying out what Allah ordained us to do. They found it difficult because they were surrounded by non-Muslims. This may be their own challenges. Now, let's ask ourselves, will all this make us to denounce our faith? Will all this make us to say, I'm no longer a Muslim, I want to visit this, I want to visit that? Let's have a self-reflection. Tawheed is very important. Like we discussed in our last episode. Please, if you have not watched our last episode, that was where we talked extensively on Tawheed. We also related it to the Holy Quran, one of the surah of the Holy Quran. You can watch it. The link will be pasted below in the description box. You can click it and watch it. Then to make it to understand the reason why we brought forth the story of Bilal. Let us use this opportunity, this month of blessing, to get closer to Allah. It is not by you knowing all the Quranic verses. It is not by you getting the right pronunciation of some Arabic words. Yes, it is one of it, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to seek knowledge, to look for knowledge, the importance of knowledge. But you cannot just say, because I've not gathered enough knowledge, I will not do anything till I gather all. Please, with the little you know, make effort, add to it while practicing your religion. In the month of Ramadan, if you don't know what to do, please, daily, even at the end of Ramadan, daily in our life, let's reflect, let's think about Allah, let's remember Allah. The remembrance of Allah is very important in all Muslims' life. When you remember Allah always, it will draw you back from negative things. It will make you think about some things, and it will make some things clearer to you. It will also make some things easy for you. Remembrance of Allah, we foster you to observe your 5 daily salat. Remembrance of Allah, we urge you to do some things that Allah wants, and reject some things that Allah prohibited. Remembrance of Allah will cause us to know so many things. And they said in the remembrance of Allah, will the heart find peace. You see yourself being happy, even in some difficult situation, you have peace with yourself, because you believe that Allah is there. Allah will solve it. You need to do your best and leave the rest for Allah. Please, in this month of Ramadan, let's use this opportunity so well. May this Ramadan testify for us and not against us in the day of Qiyamah. May Allah bless us abundantly in this month of Ramadan. May He forgive our sins. May He make it easy for us. Those that are sick, may Allah grant us shifa, inshallah. See you in our next episode. Asalam Alaikum.